you got your water. Mm-hmm. I got my Coke with coffee.
Yeah, and it matches your shirt too.
No, that's the reason why I'm drinking them. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Tiki Mugs with Ray, and today I am not too far away from my own house. I'm actually literally, Google Maps says I'm literally 22 minutes away from you. This is Christine, and we are in SeaTac, Washington, which is the airport. Well, what came first, the airport or the town?
I'm not sure, but I definitely enjoy being just 5 minutes away from the airport.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Well, wouldn't that be funny if like somehow for some reason like the town was? That's a good question. Anyone out there? What was made first, the airport or the town? Because when you're like, what are we gonna name our airport? Mm-hmm. Well, it's between Seattle and Tacoma. SeaTac. Yeah, all right, there you go. And all this like, or was there's already this town? It's like, what should we name our town? I
mean,
I don't know. It's in between Seattle and Tacoma.
I'm just happy that I can just like, my flight's literally 30 minutes like out, so let me just drive over 5 minutes and then I get to fly to a tiki convention.
So when you're flying and your partner, she could literally just be here and be like, I'm off the plane. Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Who needs cell phone parking lots, right?
Yeah.
Not
us. Not I.
Are you a native of the area?
No. I moved out here right out of college. I accepted a job working with Boeing.
Oh, okay.
And I originally born and raised in Florida. 10 minutes from the Mai-Tai, which I've never been to while growing up. I know, like, my heart is broken after I learned that. I was like, oh, man. And then I got really happy that they're going to reopen. So.
Yes, they are. So you got to go back.
I gotta.
Christine makes mugs.
I do.
In your house.
Just started.
And in your garage. You literally just started. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, because I found you on Instagram, and I was looking through, and I saw your mugs. And I'm like, and you're like, Tacoma, like all your posts are like local. I'm like,
yeah,
like there's a mug maker that's here and I don't know about it. And I reached out to you and you're like, yeah, I live in SeaTac and well, I want to do an interview with you because it's like I love the fact that there's people doing things here in the Pacific Northwest. And I want to highlight that and show the rest of the tiki community. It's like, hey, there's people doing stuff outside of California. So you literally just started making mugs starting last September.
Last September, I was in between jobs for a month. Yeah. And I just dedicated my life to making mugs for a whole entire month. Like lived and breathed that every day.
Well, what started this? What made you decide to do this?
There were two things actually.
Yeah.
The first one came when we were all chilling at home, binge watching everything during the lockdown. Yeah. And I came across the Great Pottery Throwdown. And it was just this wonderful show.
That's a show?
Yeah. Basically the same setup as the Great British Bake Off, but with pottery. And I was just like, oh man, all these people like do these amazing work. And I was hooked and binge watched like all the seasons. Yeah. But little did I know, after the lockdown and everything reopened, I heard that there was an awesome tiki bar in Tacoma called the Devil's Reef. Oh, yeah. And it was reopening. So I went there early 2021, and I just fell in love. Like, it was amazing. The drinks by Jason, crazy good. Mm-hmm. And the atmosphere, like, gives you that escapism that I was looking for after emerging from, like, the caves.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, and Jason was nice enough to basically, he saw that I was interested in the mugs that he had displayed at his bar, and he like brought them down, like the Dead Eye from Van Tiki he brought down. He even brought down some Baya mugs too, and he was like, look, like these were made by people, and I was just like, wow, these look amazing. I want to try this. And I have to say, like, I was 2 drinks in, and I kind of declared that I was gonna make it, and just like
two drinks from the Devil's Reef is a lot of booze. Let's just say that. So it isn't like I'm gonna. And you're telling that was your partner there at the time, and you're like, I'm gonna make some tiki mugs, and she's like, she goes, well, where you, and she, well, let me ask you, was she like, well, where are you gonna make them at? I'm gonna do in the garage, and she's like, doesn't she do like wood crafting or something like that?
Oh yeah, I totally took over her garage. Like, yeah, it was like, it wasn't a hostile takeover. I was just like, I'm gonna start out with this little tiny corner, I promise. And then it just slowly just eked out. And
is that what you did? You're like, I'm just gonna be doing it over here.
Yeah.
And right, exactly. and we'll take a little tour of where you make your mugs, and it's like, now that you have like a paint booth, you have like the place where you actually make the mugs, and you actually have a whole other like garage or for where the kilns are at.
Yeah.
And you not only have one, but you have 2. So you're serious about this.
I'm serious.
I mean,
I went all in, yeah.
So you got to stick to it now.
Yeah,
well, I would say though, I mean, like, so this is your first mug.
Ever, yeah.
First mug ever, and which one is the final product?
Oh, the final product is this one right here.
Look at this. This is amazing. Do you have a name for this mug?
Yeah, till death don't us part. Till
death don't us part.
Yeah, because you never part when you're in the arms with your loved ones, sunken down deep in the ocean. I designed this in the month of October, which is where we celebrated our 9 years together, and I was feeling really romantic and really spooky because I love Halloween. And yeah, this just popped out, and I just had to sculpt it up.
I love it. Oh, look at even you have the hands on the other side.
Yeah.
Till death don't us part. I'll tell you what. I have my Tiki Golf Club, and I think there's a lot of my friends. Well, a lot of my members, if you're into Tiki and if you're into Goth, this is it. This is it. Oh my God, this is so cool. I cannot. This is your first mug.
It is, but I really couldn't have done it without. Are you familiar with Van Tiki's Tiki Technical Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched all his videos. I even took screenshots and notes, studied it, basically laid out my plan, but also winged it too.
Yeah.
And I also reached out to a bunch of other Tiki mug artists in the community using Instagram.
Who's that? Like who?
Like Big's Tiki, Big Studio, Tiki Rob, Pi Tikis, all these great, amazing artists. And what blew my mind was that they actually replied to me. They replied back and they answered all my questions.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's just I was able to get the quality of my first mug this way because I learned from the greats.
Well, oh my God! You were saying some of these are the first runs or the first tries, and to me these look incredible too.
Oh, they're super rough.
I don't think so.
When the rims, I collect mugs myself.
Yeah, you do.
And I love my mugs, and there's some of my mugs have amazing quality, and I basically went to my collection and I kind of studied the mugs that I have.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, my rim looks awful compared to the rims of a Tiki Rob mug. How what? I just it just hit me. I was like, wow, this is glaring. How do I fix this? And then Rob taught me how to get that nice smooth finish on the top of the rims.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there were some other surface issues, and yeah, everybody has just been so helpful.
See, that's even something I wouldn't even think about. Now you're looking at the rims of the mugs. You're like, oh yeah, let me see your mug here. That feels a little rough to me.
I never really, it never really stood out to me until I made it myself. And then I was like, there's something off between my mug that I made and the mugs that I collect. Oh yeah, this is the rims are wonky. So
this is your first mug, but you have a couple other things in the works. Yeah. Over here, and you have these. What are these little guys here?
Oh,
Can I see one?
Yeah, go ahead. So
look at this.
These are. I like to call them mini tikis, and I kind of mash the words together. I like to call them minikis.
Minikis.
Yeah, and
I love it.
This is actually these are glaze testers, and I sculpted these to be glaze testers because I wanted to emulate wood grain.
Well, I'd say you knocked it out of the park, Christine.
Thanks. And again, like I've had a lot of guidance from people that really nail wood grain.
And I'll tell you what, the closer and the more you look at it, the more detail you see. It's incredible.
And I'm really happy with. I tested out a bunch of different glazes, and some made it look like the wood is mahogany, and then this is probably like white, like white oak. Like you can tell that my partner loves wood.
Yeah.
Wood crafting because I'm like, so this looks like this wood.
So by changing the glaze, you can make it seem like it's a different type of wood.
Yeah. And then depending on the thickness that you spray too. Yeah, these were my testers, and I'm really happy with the way that they came out, and so I'm really excited to basically. I think my next couple of mugs, one of them will have wood in it, and I'll try to emulate like wood textures.
What the hell is this?
Yeah, it's a wolf head. I saw that Tiki.
It is a wolf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did Tiki Technical Tuesdays? He used monster clay, and I was just like, I've never sculpted before. Let me try monster clay out.
What's monster clay?
It's a wax-based clay, and it's basically what you use to make your first sculpt. And then once you're happy with the sculpt, that you take the sculpt and you make a mold out of it.
So is this monster clay?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the mold, or you're going to make a mold with this?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a mold with it.
So what's the plan? Is this gonna become a mug, or you're just doing ahead? Or?
I was at first I was starting to do it just for fun and just learning the texture and how to mold the monster clay.
Yeah. But
then the more I look at it, I'm like, I think I can make it into a mug, and
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Have you? Okay, so COVID happens, you watch the pottery throwdown, and you decide that you're going to make mugs. But I mean, have you had any experience doing any of this before this at all?
Mm-mm.
Like carving or pottery or anything like that, or sculptures or?
Absolutely zero.
Zero.
I grew up doing traditional art, like graphite, oil painting. And I even did some geeky type of painting, like painting miniatures.
Yeah.
But there's something about ceramics that really connected with me. Like I've always loved 3D sculpting, 3D modeling. Yeah. I do it for work, but there's just something about the tactileness of like sculpted work.
Yeah.
And there's one thing about ceramics that like it blew my mind.
What's that?
When you paint something and you photocopy it.
Okay.
Is it the same as the original painting?
No, I'd say no.
Yeah, like you photocopy, print it, but it's not the same as the original painting.
No.
Well, the method of ceramics using slip casting, it blew my mind that I can, like, if this is the first mug I've ever created, I can replicate this mug and basically give you a mug that's exactly like my original.
Yes.
And that's just something I absolutely fell in love with. Like I want to be able to have people be able to have the same art that I created myself. Yeah. And that's what like slip casting and ceramic mug making allows me to do. And after that clicked with me, I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Well, that's how I feel about tiki. I mean, I got into tiki, you know, kind of like in the in 2006 and something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's just so many different ways and roads you can go down. It's just sort of endless. And I love every aspect of it. And again, you know, for most people, they think it's the cocktails. Mm-hmm. And yeah, of course, I love my Mai-Tais and zombies and stuff like that. But what I really love is that I love the environments. I love the art. I love the mugs.
Yeah.
The mugs are so cool. It always blows my mind because the original idea of a tiki mug was like it was a souvenir. Mm-hmm. It was a souvenir. You went to this bar, this tiki restaurant, and like, well, here you go. Here's your. And I've seen, and I'm a big fan of a lot of those early mugs. It's like one glaze, real simple, But what are you talking about? Now we're dealing with like they're hand painted, and I can tell you, Christine, they weren't making this mug back in like the 60s. This is way too intricate. What is the name of your company? You have a name. It's not Christine's Mugs, but what is it?
No, it's Riki Tat Tiki.
Riki Tat Tiki.
And I really like it because I can make the...
Oh, yeah, look at that.
I made the tat part into a little tiki guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, but yeah, I basically posted all my journey when I started out on Instagram. So you can actually see my first post is like last year's September is when I started.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take a little tour of your place. Yep. Downstairs, and maybe show off a little, like where as they say, where the sausage is made, and
mugs are made.
Well, I guess where the tikis are made.
I'm about to show you my workshop, aka the garage that I took over, and this is my spray booth that my partner actually built for me. You can see I collect tiki mugs, and I just love taking the stickers that I get from my tiki mugs and just putting it on my workspace. And you can see over here, I have a bunch of glazes, a lot of like plaster and clay for molding. Yeah, fit everything over here. And then this is the table that I took over. I feel kind of bad because my partner put in a lot of work to make this like a huge moving table for her woodworking, but she was kind enough to let me take it over. And yeah, this is where, you can see on the table, I just recently demolded a maneki, and I literally use Tupperware. So if you ever want to learn molding, you can do it with Tupperware and plaster that you buy. Yeah. And you can see, this is a poor mug that I picked up with too much force, and it got cracked. But I'll probably use this as like a glaze tester. A little maneki that I demolded just now from the mold. Yeah. And then you can see over here I have drying racks. This is where these 4 big, large white blocks are the plaster molds that I make my mug using. And here's some manekis that have drying on the rack. This is before it's bisque fired. Yeah. And then we can go check out my kiln room, aka my kiln shed. My secret weapon is my partner Val, and she's super handy with everything. Like literally anything that I need, she sees me, she's like, "That's not efficient. I'm gonna build you something more efficient." So this is the shed that came with the house that we bought. Literally for the first 3 years we used it for storage, and after I got into tiki mug making, I bought kilns, and I'm like, I'm gonna take this over too. So she built me this like frame for an air conditioning unit to keep the shed cool when the kilns are running. But voila, pretty tight space, but you can see it's a full drying rack with a couple of mugs you can see in the back that I'm actually making for the next batch release. And then I have 2 kilns. The small one is Lil K, the big one is Biggie, and Biggie's a second use kiln, and Lil K is a new one, both from Scut. And yeah, there's also some additional work that I'm firing for friends. So I think I might, since I have 2 kilns, I might rent out kiln space. So if you're ever around the area, of SeaTac, Tacoma, Seattle, and you want to fire your own mugs or ceramics, like feel free to reach out to me. But yeah, that's like my little kiln room.
Well, thank you very much for showing us where you make your mugs. Yeah. And I tell you what, it blows my mind that you actually have like your own room, your own building with 2 kilns going on.
No, our shed.
Your shed. And well, what else? Anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to tell our viewers of?
There's another thing that made me fall in love with this whole thing too.
What's that?
And it's like there's a perfect partnership between the mug artists and tiki bars.
Yep.
It's like, what other art piece can, like, when you buy a statue, you buy it for your house and keep it in your house, but it usually just stays at your house. But there's like this amazing partnership between artists and tiki bars where, you can take your artwork out in public and it's actually functional.
Oh my god!
And like people can see it and you can use it, and I just like think that's amazing. And I love that there's tiki bars all across the United States that kind of like reach out to artists and like they collaborate on a piece. And yeah, that's awesome.
Well, my favorite type of tiki bars are like the old school ones, and then there's a lot that just aren't around anymore. Like, for example, there was the Kahiki, which was in Ohio. I mean, like, if I can go in a time machine, like, this is the place I'd want to go to. Like, this place is amazing. It shut down in, like, the early 2000s, but I have the tiki mug.
Okay.
I have the Kahiki tiki mug. And there you go. I have a little piece of history.
Yeah.
And for me, for some of these places, just having the mug is like, well, this is my little piece of history to this place. And I really love that. And I'm really excited for you.
Thanks.
Because you're literally just starting, and you've already knocked it out of the park. And
Thank you.
if anyone is interested in getting any of your mugs, how can they do that? What do they need to do?
Ooh, probably follow me on Instagram. That's where I usually announce like small batch releases. This is an edition size of 150. I just fulfilled like basically mug number 56 recently.
Okay.
So I have a lot more to make. I'm going to be applying for to be a vendor to a couple of Tiki Cons this year and into next. So I'm going to be making mugs and bringing them as a vendor, and also releasing them on my website, which is you can find a link through my Instagram, Riki Tat Tiki.
So is that the name of the website too, or you Riki Tat Tiki? Okay, cool.
RikiTatTiki.com.
And then that's how people can get their own mugs.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me over.
Yeah, thanks.
And,
thanks for the interview.
yeah, my pleasure. Well, there you go. There's the interview.
Cool. Peace out.
And then what we'll do, peace out.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do now, though, is we're going to pretend that we just did all that.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to bring it back, and I'll wrap up the video.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Sounds good. There's one thing that I do want to talk about.
Oh yeah, of course.
I love the fact that there's like.
Well, let me bring us back in.
Okay.
And then then you can say whatever.
Okay.
It's so funny. Well, that was an amazing tour of your workshop.
I love time traveling.
That was really something else.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Okay, yeah, and that's going to be in the bloopers.
Yeah.